Hello and welcome to another episode of Treasure Hunting America. I'm your host, Mark Hendricks. For the next half hour, we'll share some amazing stories of everyday treasure hunters across the country, discovering vast antiquities and caches of yesteryear. Our first story takes us to the Gold Hills of California. It's here that Bob Howard found several large nuggets and decided once and for all to give up his day job.
Far back as I can remember, my father got me into going into the ghost towns and talking to me about the history and just seeing the old things and telling me all the things I could find. And then when I did start searching, I was finding. And it was just a lot of interest in the Old West, and it was very romantic. You know, I really liked that. It was really very attractive to me.
This love for treasure hunting kept up with Bob into adulthood. He often went gold prospecting on the weekend and worked during the week in Silicon Valley. But for Bob, this wasn't the lifestyle he wanted to live.
I was working for Hewlett & Packard over in Sunnyvale and Palo Alto area. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. I like the outdoors, and I'm not really an electronics buff. I really like getting out and exploring, and the prospecting, the treasure hunting really attracted to me. And one weekend I went out and I found a 2-pound nugget. We were up by Downeyville and I was dredging. And I went down with my 6-inch dredge, and it just showed up there. It wouldn't even go up the nozzle. And when I saw it, I couldn't believe what I saw. It totally shocked me. And I almost swallowed my regulator when I discovered it. You know, it was just unbelievable. The thrill of finding it was worth more than it was in value itself. It's just that I felt I'd accomplished my goal, like what I wanted to do. At the time, the company I was working for offered early retirement, and I went into work and I just showed this to my boss and I said, I'm gone. And he said, no, you're not one we want to let go. And too bad, that's it, I'm out of here. After that, it's just been one great find after another. I don't regret this one bit. It's not only been very profitable for me, it has been absolutely a lifesaver for me. It's a lot of stress relief, and it's changed my life completely. Yeah, this is a very good place to look. I found a lot of gold out of here. Ooh. There's another good signal. You know, wherever I find one, I always find another. I always find more in the same area. So, but this, like I say, last winter there was a big flood down this stream. So I'm sure a lot more gold is washed down. Let's see what I find in here. Ooh, I got it first time. Yep, that's it. Another one right there. Good, nice piece. There's still a lot of gold being found. In fact, we're finding more today than they ever did. And the equipment's gotten much better. Metal detectors, and the way they are now, we're not stuck to the water's edge. We can explore more. I can find gold inside of rocks. You don't see any gold on the outside of the rock at all. Or if you do, just barely a speck of gold. I found quite a bit like that. And I think it's just gold that they'd missed. They were using their eyes, and I think the older the mine, the technology wasn't as good, and they were pulling out a lot of gold. So the stuff that we consider big now, they consider small. There is more gold in the ground than they have ever taken out. These are several gold pieces that I found in the local area. These are the pieces that I find around the mines, this piece here. And you can see it's got a lot more crystalline structure. It's a lot more of a specimen kind of piece. This is the kind of pieces I found around the streams. These are more hammered. They've been crushed and ground down by the rocks and moving gravel in a water action. This is more of a specimen kind of a piece. This, for some reason, just seems to attract me more because this is the way nature actually created it. This is the way it came out of the ground. Some of my favorite places to search are around old mines. I like to go into the ore dumps. I have found larger pieces of gold there and more specimen grade pieces of gold. Whenever you talk to anybody about prospecting, the first thing that comes to their mind are rivers and streams. There's not so many people away from that. I'd like to get away from everybody. I like to be off by myself. And I find that around these mining sites, there's nobody. Sometimes I go into historical museums and I find these old maps and I'll see a mine there and I'll look at it on a modern day map and it doesn't exist. I want to go check those out because I don't think anybody else has been out there. I've flown around with several pilots, and I take my GPS with me, and I have them fly around through the valleys and looking for the old mines if we can spot them. I want them to fly low and slow if they will. And when I spot a mine and it looks interesting, I save the waypoint on my GPS, and I hike back out there and explore and check those out. This is the side of an old mine. There's actually a mine shaft right back there in the bushes. This is definitely what I look for. You can see all the quartz in the ground around here, and the quartz on the hill there behind me. Well, that's a piece of iron, probably a piece of old mining garbage, trash. But yeah, this is definitely a good spot. Well, not everything is a good target. Knowing what to pick up and what not to. No, more trash. Oh, that's iron there. Oh, I got a good signal there. That's definitely non-ferrous. Yeah, good strong signal. Yep, it's in my hand. Yep, it's definitely in my hand. Nope. Nope. There it is. Okay. Oh, there it is. Yeah. There's a nice piece. I don't recommend anybody to go inside of a mine. The slightest movement, anything could cause it to cave in on you. That is very dangerous to do. And most of the mines I've gone around are already collapsed. If you start chipping at the side of the mine, the whole roof may cave in on you. That's just definitely not a very good idea. And your machine's only going to go so many inches into the wall of the mine. And there's been actually more gold found in the ore dump outside than they ever did inside the mine.
Another method Bob uses to find gold is underwater dredging.
Dredging is where you use a suction hose and a pump, and it pumps water into a venturi, which creates a suction on a hose, and it vacuums up the gravel off the bottom of the river, runs it through a sluice box, puts the gravel back into the stream, and we actually remove mercury, remove lead out of the streams. We actually clean up the streams.
Popular opinion would believe that dredging is not good for the environment, but Bob feels differently about his time in the streams.
We're the only people I know that are taking mercury and lead out of the streams, which winds up in the fish and then winds up in us. We actually dig up bugs, which feed the fish. We aerate the gravel, which is good for the fish to lay eggs in next year. I would consider us environmentalists, definitely. You know, we're cleaning up the environment.
In addition to being an environmentalist, Bob has also become an amateur archaeologist.
We actually are protecting artifacts as we find them. We get them out of the ground before they're destroyed by the environment. The artifacts that we find, we donate them to the museums, and it's adding to history. These things are just falling apart. They're just wasting away into the ground, and we can get them out and get them into museums where they belong. And I notice there's a fence right over here to my right. It's obviously private property. I might work right up to, but I try to stay off of private property as much as possible. It's just not worth the trouble. And there's just as much gold off the private property as there is on. More out of the fact that they just want their privacy, not something like they're trying to protect gold or something that might be on there.
For Bob, his profession as a treasure hunter, environmentalist, and archaeologist is fueled by his passion for adventure.
It's very addicting because you're finding what you're looking for. It's gold fever. You pick up a piece of gold and wow, I mean, it shocks you. And as you keep going and you get more and more and more, the pieces of gold are getting larger and I'm finding more of it. And it's just, like I say, very addicting, and there's a lot of adventure. I'm more addicted to the adventure than I am the profit that I'm getting from it. It's just something about it. It just really attracts me. I've pretty much done just about everything I ever wanted to do in life and seen just about everywhere I wanted to see. And this is something I intend to do the rest of my life. Absolutely, this is my life's passion.